You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
You can find us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right. We want you guys to help us keep the conversation moving forward. You can do that by supporting the show. You can share it online with your friends and family. Leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasting content from. Link in the description right down there below. Dr. Shah, welcome to the show.
Oh,
Welcome.
vigorously.
Yeah, vigorously. If you're joining us for the first time, we're here with our host, Dr. Abadan Shah, who's a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, professor at Carolina University, author, full-time pastor, and of course, the host of today's show. I also noticed you...
The host with the most.
Host with the most.
From coast to coast.
There you go. I like
I don't mean to boast.
You want some toast? Hey, I like
prefer some roast.
I like the shaven beard.
Yeah?
It looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Are you going to keep it off?
No.
You got to grow it back?
I should start from zero. Because, I had the chops, so you can't take the chops all the way down. So I just took everything off, and then we'll...
Dr. Shah, he's not
start
in
over.
the refined gentleman's club like you and myself.
No.
Yeah.
No.
He's
Wild man.
Wild barbarian.
One of the street people.
Living
Is that
in
what
the,
it is?
Living in the outskirts of
I'm always
society.
flummoxed when I see that don't do it.
What did he say?
Flummoxed.
Was that it for real?
It was
okay.
it. Yeah.
Flummoxed. Flummoxed.
Flummox. I'm confused.
Like I'm flummoxed.
baffled.
I'm confused, baffled.
Never heard.
That was one I knew.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure because
It was so
it's
up top.
outlandish, but it's not totally off the horizon.
Right,
so.
right. Well, anyway, I like the clean shaven look.
Yeah.
Dr. Shah and I have been in that club for a while. I wish you'd stick around, but
I don't like it.
Dr.
I
Shah,
prefer a beard.
I do have one question for you.
Okay.
Would you take $1 million, my friend?
Yes.
Here comes the money. All right, so
Simple answer. Yes.
Dr. Shah, I'm going to give you $1 million.
Yes.
You can take as long as you need to, but at some point you have to put 100 different items down the toilets here at Clearview Church and flush them. Like they're going to clog, they're going to break. As long as you don't get caught, you'll get $1 million. Now, if you get caught, if people find out that you're doing this, that you're the one putting...
How long do I have to do this?
It doesn't matter how long you take. You can take as long as you want.
I just have to clog the...
You have to just put 100 different items down the toilet.
So different,
how big do
not
they
the
have to
same
be?
item.
they don't, they just have to fit. They just have to be able to flush down. I would say if you do a cough drop, you can do that, but then you can't do a cough drop again.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like you have to put 100 different items and flush them down the toilet. If it breaks, nobody has to know that it was you doing it. But if you get caught, you don't get the money, and everybody just knows you did this really weird, sneaky thing.
That creep.
This is brought to you, by the way, while you're thinking of your answer, this is brought to you by my son Holden, who put toys down the toilet, and we had to call a plumber this morning and have him go take the toilet out of the house into the yard and dig the toys out.
Oh.
Yeah, in fact,
Was
I'll
he
show
in
you a
trouble?
picture. Oh, he was in big trouble. Yeah. He was in big trouble. We had a feeling that had happened, but then he... The plumber came back in and showed Ellie. He said, "Hey, here's what I found in the toilet. I'm going to show it to you here in a second." But $1 million, would you do that?
Oh my goodness. $1 million. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
You do it?
I'll do it.
you can take as long as you want.
He put that in the toilet.
Yeah, he flushed those down the toilet. And
This is Holden or Gavin?
Holden.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I thought it was like Gavin. Then did he get in trouble?
No, Gavin knows better than that. Gavin will watch his brother do stuff and keep silent because he thinks it's fun. I don't think it's funny. I'm sure that Gavin was there when Holden was doing
Imagine Holden's perspective. Like he's just set out in his mind, this is the mission that needs to happen, and he's utterly bumfuzzled that he's in trouble.
it. No, man. You ain't going for that. Did you have the secret word too?
I did.
You had the secret. Why did two people have the secret word?
So once you instantly got flummoxed wrong, I was like, let me see if I can get Ryan to get another confused word in there.
Bumfuzzled. It means confused or perplexed.
I knew about bumfuzzled, but I was like, you're not ever gonna say that.
You
That's such
knew
an awkward
bumfuzzled
word.
but didn't know flummoxed? I knew flummoxed but had never heard bumfuzzled.
Bumfuzzled, yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy to me. So, Ryan, $1 million and Dr. Shah, $1 million, but you have to and no one ever has to know it's you. In fact, it's better that they don't know it's you.
Right.
But if you get caught, you get no money.
I don't think I would take
and
it.
everyone just thinks you're weird.
I think my conscience I would just like toss and turn at night. I don't think I could do it.
So imagine we have to, like, the toilet gets broken, a plumber has to come fix it, and they're like, oh, hey, it's a wad of sticky notes. And then Dr. Shah's like, all right, who flushed the sticky notes down the toilet? And you're just going to keep silent and be like,
I mean, lying is 100% involved in this equation.
true.
I mean, that's without lying, you cannot do any of this.
yeah,
yeah,
true.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I couldn't.
You don't think you could do it?
I would instantly
You
break.
would be bumfuzzled,
I would be bumfuzzled.
like a befuddled.
I would instantly break.
Because then I feel like if someone were to actually come in, I was going to try to save it. Because if you kept silent, we would just have to pull up the cameras. We just have to pull
Right.
up this.
I mean, there's no way you're going to escape past that. There's no way. I would break. I'd be like, yep, it was me.
I think I would. Yeah, I think I would try.
I don't know why I did it.
And then you would be like befuddled. What was it? Bumfuddled?
Bumfuzzled.
Bumfuzzled?
Bumfuzzled.
Oh, I thought it was like befuddled.
All right, you've said that twice now.
What? What do you mean? All three of us had a secret word.
The first time I was like, no, surely not. But then he said it again. I was like, wait a minute.
What did he
Wait
say?
a minute. Befuddled.
So I had flummoxed.
We all had very similar words too.
Did
all
you just
confused.
Did you just look up synonyms for confused?
Yeah. And once you got it wrong, I was like, maybe Ryan can get it. And then once he got it wrong, I was like, maybe Dr. Shah can get it.
I did it 3 times.
You did.
I ran that
Well, I
through
would
3
say you
times.
should get it. You should hit the grunt.
Yeah, I think
Well,
that's
I mean-
right. I only caught it on the second, or the third time.
The first time I did it, and then that TV came on automatically.
You were saying,
Convenient distraction.
Okay, that was pretty clever because I thought you were saying befuddled, trying to make us think that you were getting his word wrong.
Right.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
That was pretty, okay. That was pretty clever. I'll give you that.
I think that counts. I think that counts.
All right. So
We're all. Never mind.
yeah. Let's just get to let's get into that.
That's the only way you can do these words anymore.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
I maybe have to like rethink.
We
need to rethink our association.
Yeah, true.
like Tombstone.
Here's what I think. Nobody's better at coming up with games than Ryan. Maybe you should take the secret word and get a structure.
Get some structure in place.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, I mean David is great. I'm not talking about David. It was just that we're not able to
I see what
really
you're saying.
pass it through. David's doing fine.
Yeah. He's like the word assignment is fine. The how we get this word into
Yeah,
the
it's like
conversation.
it was like we're so aware of each other's lingo that
True.
the moment of befuddled comes in, and
Yeah.
like, wait a minute.
Okay, that
Hold on
I
a
will
minute.
say the whole giving all of us one, that was pretty slick. I didn't expect
Yeah.
that at all. That was pretty cool.
Oh, well, I saw my phone go off. I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
Was it for different days, or did you just all want us to have one?
No, he
today?
just sent me one.
I
too.
just wanted everybody to have one.
Okay.
All,
Okay.
all
funny.
of the confused language.
All right.
That's funny.
We need to go into an ad.
We'll do the verse of the day.
Oh yeah, do the verse of the day. I'm sorry. I don't never want to cut
skip
off,
on God's word, man.
especially not for an ad read. You're
The
right.
verse of the day is coming to us from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11. Now, no chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful. Nevertheless, after it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it.
That's where they get the phrase, man. No pain, no gain. But no, for real. Like you always, when you're disciplined by whether it's by someone in your life or by God Himself, of course it doesn't feel good. It's not there to feel good. And I think that's something that I've learned the more that I've grown up and the more I've matured is that the things that feel good typically are not very good for me.
That's true.
The food I eat or the things I watch or the things I put in my mind or my body, they're not, those things that feel good aren't good for me. It's usually the things that hurt that end up being for my benefit.
Right. That's right. God knows exactly what we need when we need it, and even things that we may not enjoy in the moment. I look back at my life, the many situations that I went through that in the moment I was like, this is the worst thing that can happen to me, or this is not helping me. How is this going to be good? But now looking back, is those very things that have made me into a better person,
Right.
or a more person focus and vision and determination, and especially a Christ-like person.
That's right.
Those trials.
That's right.
Help tremendously.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, so important for us, knowing that when we are encountering those difficult things in life and those things that kind of are standing off the rough edges of our sin nature, that's going to be painful, but it ultimately serves to make us more like Christ.
And even the people that God puts in your life, you know what I mean? Like those people are there and you don't even know, they may not even be authority figures in your life, but at the same time, God has put them there to refine you. And
Yep.
sometimes that discipline comes in the form, it doesn't come in like a finger wagging way. It just comes in the form of those tough conversations.
Right.
But those honest conversations that you need to hear and are so needed for growing up. Yeah, especially growing up in Christ.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So good for us. We're going to go into a short ad break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Clearview Today. Hey, Clearview Today listeners. Every day we invite you to join us in these conversations and explore the never-ending truth of God's Word. And if you've been following the show for a while, if you feel like it's blessed you and you believe in the mission we're on, we invite you to partner with us through your financial support.
That's right. Your giving helps us keep the message of the gospel reaching more hearts and minds every day. And when you give for the gospel, that's not an act of generosity. That's an act of worship. It's a way to honor God and invest in His kingdom, knowing that every single dollar you give helps us share the hope of Jesus with a world in desperate need of Him.
If God is pressing on your heart right now to give to the Clearview Today Show, you can visit our website, clearviewtodayshow.com, and press that little button that says Give Today. And we just want to say thank you for your support. May God continue to bless you as you partner with us in making our show as impactful as possible for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
That's right. We appreciate every single one of you. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028.
That's right, Dr. Shah. We are seeing a lot of good news in the world today. Last week we put, if you guys were listening to the show live, you know that we put out an episode kind of chronicling the Middle East conflict, especially between Israel and Hamas, Hezbollah. It's hard to keep up with everything that's going on. I think it's both. I think that's what you said, Dr. Shah. Like they're fighting on two different fronts. But a bit of good news in the Middle Eastern conflict today.
Yeah, we've been, since 2012, we've heard about Assad's regime in Syria and how oppressive it was towards their own people, also towards Christians, and then especially towards Israel. It was like a proxy for Iran right on their northern or northeastern border. And so now finally that regime has fallen. And there was a time back in the day when we thought this was going to happen, and as you know, the Syrian revolution that took place years ago, and it didn't quite materialize.
Right.
You had Iran, you had Russia propping up Syria, giving them all that they needed, and it really all that resulted was a mass exodus of people. At one time, I think there were like 1.5 million some Christians in Syria, only 300,000 left. So a lot of Christians left too. But now finally that regime has fallen.
Right.
Yes, in some ways it's a good thing. It's a great thing, I would say, especially with regards to Hezbollah, this terrorist organization right on Israel's border, constantly harassing them, firing missiles at them, drones, all that kind of stuff. Can you imagine living in that kind of a war zone?
Right.
So in that sense, good things have come. But now, who's going to be in charge?
That's the question.
What happens next? Because you have sort of these unaffiliated jihadist rebels who are in power. Now, if they continue to be in power, then we need to really step in. And I'm so glad that President Trump is at the helms of our country. I'm so glad Netanyahu is on the helms of his country. And hopefully, if the wrong elements get in power, this vacuum, if the wrong elements get in, at least we have some sensible, strong, courageous, wise people who will step in and put an end to it.
Right.
Previously, that was not the case.
No, it was not.
I would be very concerned right now.
Yeah.
So at least that sense of assurance is there that in case this train goes off the rails, which may look like it is, at least we have some safety nets.
Yeah.
But it's a great victory, I guess, in the sense that, it's something that we've been praying for. It's a little bit more stability in the Middle East. Is Syria an ally to Israel?
No. In the past, no.
In the past, no. You think that could potentially change now?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully that can change. Assad, he was okay with minorities. It's a Alawite regime, which is like a branch of the Shiites. You have Sunnis and Shias. Okay, these are the two branches of Islam. It's all based on the succession of who followed Muhammad, kind of thing. So the Sunnis are the majority. Sunnis are more on the conservative side of things. So that's where you find Saudi Arabia, you find Jordan, you find Egypt. All these are major Sunni strongholds. But then you have Iran, you have Syria. They were more on the Shiite side of things. And then if you go towards Iraq and Iran, Iraq was ruled by Sunnis,
Right.
but it has a lot of Shiites as well, right on the border of Iran.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a tough situation, political gridlock.
Yeah, makes sense.
But hopefully now, at least that Shiite radicalism of we want to blow Israel out of the map or something like that, or constantly propping up terrorist organizations, at least that part will come to a close. But that by no means implies that conflicts are over.
How soon do you think that window closes? So like a regime falls, now I want to say insurgents, but like rebels, like the freedom fighters, they take over.
Yeah.
They start implementing.
Which they already have.
Right.
Yeah.
They start implementing methods of, all right, now we've won. Now it's time to start controlling this government, this people. What do you think that window of opportunity is to where we'll know whether or not this is going to be a good or a bad thing?
Right away.
Okay.
Right away. I mean, some of the images we already saw by some of these jihadist rebel fighters is on to Jerusalem. It's like, really? You just got your country
your
back from a
independence,
dictator, and the first thing you think about is,
Declaring war on Israel?
Yeah.
like, come on, what's wrong with you?
Wow.
Why?
Wow.
Why don't you just work on building your people? Why don't
Right.
you work on creating trade and negotiations and education and opportunities and improving the standard of living?
Right. Like, is this a revolution or is this conquest that you're now wanting to take over more?
Right.
That's my question. Is it we want to gain ground and expand our own nation, or is this we hate this other nation?
Right, probably the latter. And that's where you have to go, okay, lesser of two evils. We have the lesser of two evils now. So Bashar al-Assad gone, really evil, but does not mean that all of a sudden we have the good guys in now.
Right.
Was he killed or is he?
No, he
just
escaped
removed?
to Russia.
Oh, he escaped?
Yeah, Russia gave them asylum, so he and his family, I'm assuming, they all escaped
Interesting.
and went to Russia.
Interesting. So what do you see on the horizon now? What do you see happening in the next few
In
months?
my experience and my studies, I would say there will be turmoil. There will be turmoil. Usually it's the louder, the more violent, the not thinking types usually are the ones who, who spearhead
Right.
things like this. So that's what's going on in Syria. I mean, an entire government has fallen, which means the really radical, violent crazies have spearheaded this.
Got you.
Can they last? Well, I hope Israel and others will make sure that those don't last because they don't help their people.
Right.
So I would say that is my concern right now.
Okay.
Is usually the radicals are the ones who spearhead, but hopefully soon we can now shift gears.
Yeah.
And say, okay, among these people, are there reasonable or reasoning, educated, caring people who will help their people, not just, push some religious agenda or personal agenda, because that will happen. You will have people shuffling in and shuffling out. That's part of putting a democratic system or a good, healthy system of government into power. You will have people shuffling in and shuffling out. That's going to go on. I would say, again, I'm not a Middle East expert or anything, but I've studied current events and politics for a long time and history as well. I would say looking for the next 5-6 years of shuffling in, shuffling out.
Wow.
But the goal is to put democratic systems in place in Syria.
Or at least people who care about their people.
Got you. Not just replacing one dictator with another.
Or some radical party or personality who, with a bandana on their head wants to destroy Israel or something weird like that.
Wow.
Man, come on.
Have there been nations that have followed a similar trajectory to where there's been like freedom fighters that have gone in and they've either put people in power that care about their people, or gone the opposite direction and things have
half the Middle East. I mean,
That sounds like a lot of stories you hear coming out of that region.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, of course, in Europe too. I mean, Europe is not that far behind. I mean, look at some of the situations in World War II, and even during the falling of the USSR, the Soviet bloc. Same thing. Initially, you have the old agents back in. One bad guy is replaced by another not so bad guy. And then you have to get them out, shuffling in, shuffling out, shuffling in, shuffling out. And then you have somebody comes, like a Gorbachev, who kind of hangs out. Well, Gorbachev was before the falling of the USSR. But similar people like that,
right?
They come in, they're reasonable, they care about their people. Or think about Afghanistan. And for a while, it seemed like okay, we're moving somewhere, and then the bad guys came in again,
right?
And then it kind of fell apart.
What do you think this?
Afghanistan really is not a Middle East, but similar mindset.
True. What do you think this means for Christians? Not only Christians living in the area, but just the church overall.
Oh, great question. Great question. It's always tough for Christians. I mean, Syria had such a massive Christian population at one time. I mean, Antioch in Syria, right?
Yeah.
This is where Christians were first called Christians.
I think I could be wrong, but didn't this announcement that the regime fell, didn't it take place in Damascus, or like at least outside of Damascus?
Yeah. I mean, Paul was on the road to Damascus when he met Christ, and then he went into Damascus, and that's where he learned who Christ was in the Old Testament, all of that. I mean, and to know that this is the country we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the country we're talking about.
Still there to this
Still
day.
there.
Wow.
I mean, there's so much history there. Can you imagine what tourism would do for them?
Yeah, I know.
Can you imagine what would happen to Syria if they actually said, you know what, we're going to all straighten up and we're going to work towards building archaeology, tourism, all of that. My goodness, they're sitting on a treasure trove.
Yeah, it'd be a game changer.
Oh my goodness.
All that biblical history there.
Or just world history.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, Abraham came through there, right?
Yeah.
A great point.
Eliezer of Damascus.
Yeah.
I mean, Abraham was a king outside of Damascus.
Do you think they can pinpoint that road, like the road that Paul was traveling on?
Yeah.
Like pinpoint.
You can go there. You can go and visit Christian sites. You can do that. I mean, not right now, but at one time, yeah.
Wow.
And people do that. I had thought about doing it. It just is risky. So I was like, well, maybe wait.
Yeah.
Hopefully, with everything settling down, maybe there will be some opportunity for us to make a trip one day.
Yeah.
I remember.
That'd be awesome.
I remember the whole Syrian refugee thing. That was from this civil war, this whole conflict, right?
2012, I believe it was, and it was just went really bad.
It was a huge talking point, right?
Yeah.
The whole Syrian refugees.
What do you do with the
over.
refugees?
Yeah, I remember that being a big thing.
Many went to Europe. Some came to America, and it became a humanitarian crisis.
Yeah.
And it's many times, you would think women and children would be the first in line to be sent to a better place, but you see young men when we were in Greece. Okay, so this was back in 2017. Nicole and I went to Greece, and we were in Athens. And Athens has this center square where a lot of big statues and things like that are there, and you have to walk through there. If you're walking, at least where we were staying in the hotel, you have to walk through the center of the city and then go up towards the Acropolis. Okay, so Areopagus,
Right.
Areopagus, yes.
Mars Hill?
No, Areopagus you can see. Mars Hill you can see. This is the Agora, the marketplace, the old marketplace.
Right.
So you had to go to the center of modern day Athens to get to the Agora.
Mm.
And it was just crowded with people. And then later I learned these were all the Syrian refugees. And guess what? They were all men.
Really?
Wow.
All men, young men.
They fled to Greece.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they pretty much took over Athens.
Wow.
And so Greece had a tough time with that because crimes were being committed, rapes and this and that was happening. And these were not like poor, battered women and little children with nothing to eat. These
were men.
Men.
Wow.
Yeah.
Grown men or like young?
Grown men.
Like
grown
wow.
men. Yeah.
30s, 40s, that age?
Yeah, and even teenagers.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
How do we help people? Because if we're helping them, why are they committing crime?
Right. That's
Yeah.
what you always think. You think of like you said, you think of the refugees as what you describe, like battered women, little children in rags with dirty hands and gloves and stuff.
Yeah, but here you see, I mean, we were told, but the police saw us. This was like at 7:00 in the evening, right? You could see the Parthenon up there, the Acropolis up there. I mean, it's way high. Okay, I'm not like a couple of stories, like way up high. And well, you were there with us because we were there down there. We walked through the marketplace there.
I remember.
That exactly there. Okay, where we stopped and ate and all that stuff.
Yep.
Well, anyways, so the police saw us walking around and they walked up and says, "No safe, no safe."
Wow.
I was like, "Oh wow! If the police are telling us it's not safe,"
That's significant. Yeah.
I told Nicholas, "I think we need to go back to the hotel."
Yeah, that's
And we had to
that's
walk
your
right
red
through the
flag.
center of the city and back into
Time
our
to
hotel.
make our way there quickly.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But I think even with this like Syrian, with this fall of Damascus, that has a really epic, legendary ring to it,
Damascus.
because that's usually where the story ends, right? Like you see that like the Star Wars rebels, they've conquered the empire, it's gone, and so now they raise the flag in victory and then cut to black. That's the end of it. You don't really think about the fact that now we have to put a government in place, and what we do in these next few weeks is really going to shape this conflict.
Yes.
That's right. And the common people, the everyday people, they just want a good life. They want their children to go to good schools. They want them to have a good meal, a good roof over their head, have a future.
I think this could lend itself to a really great conversation. I know we don't have time to do it today, but like, how do you, even in the, I don't want to use the word power because that has a bad connotation, but just in the case of this here, I would assume that the tools you use to obtain power is not the same tools used to keep it. And so maybe even that has like, maybe if we just say influence, how do you establish influence versus, all right, now that I have this influence, how do I keep it, or this impact, or whatever?
I would say it's in Israel's great interest, but also it's in the interest of all the neighboring Arab countries to do something good with Syria, to help Syria, to not take advantage of this nation now. They've been through enough already. Help them get on their feet, help them have a good ideology, create more of a secular society where everybody's welcome and not have to go through some radical crazy coming in
Yeah.
and trying to destroy lives again.
100%. What is your encouragement for Christians listening to this episode?
Christians all over, I'm going to say, please pray. Pray for your brothers and sisters in Christ.
That's right.
Not just in Syria, but all over the world who go through some very difficult times. And they're very peace-loving people, very productive, they contribute so much to society, to help people, their neighbors. They're always great workers, hard workers, efficient, top-ranking people in the armed forces of those countries or in the government and all that. But sometimes we get beat up on.
Yeah.
So please pray for your Christian brothers and sisters, and just never take for granted the freedoms we have in America.
Amen.
That's right.
Such a good reminder for us. Make sure you guys join us tomorrow, same time, same station. We're going to be diving into another great topic here on the Clearview Today Show. Thanks again to LeBlue Ultra Pure Water for sponsoring today's episode. And don't forget, you can support us by subscribing to the show on iTunes if you want to re-listen or share any of those episodes with your family and friends. You can always support us financially at clearviewtodayshow.com. John, anything you want to plug as we end today?
Yes, of course, we've been talking about we're going to be going live on January the 3rd from 7 to 9 p.m. for our 24-hour prayer vigil. Make sure you join us at that time. You can join us when we're streaming online. You can call into the show, 252-582-5028. We will pray with you live on the air. Also, you can grab Dr. Shah and Nicole's book, 30 Days of Praying for America, as well as our debut album. I was going to say our daily devotion, Heaven Here Now, but it's our debut album, Heaven Here and Now, available on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere digital music is sold.
You can listen to it during your daily devotion.
Yeah, you can do that if you want to. That's fine. I'm not going to gatekeep your daily devotion.
Sure. Make sure you guys jump into the conversation tomorrow. Lots of great stuff coming your way. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.